America's whiskey industry is not immune from the trade fight that we've been talking about. It faces a 25% tariff from China on top of those already levied by Europe, Mexico, and Canada. And states like Tennessee and Kentucky that rely the most on whiskey for revenue are getting hit the hardest. Contessa Brewer is in Louisville, Kentucky for us tonight.
At Kentucky Peerless Distilling Company, tourists belly up to the bar to sample sips of bourbon crafted on site. This fifth-generation family-owned business has big plans for growth.
We plan on being in, 6 to 7 countries in the next couple of years, so we're constantly expanding what we do.
But new tariffs are throwing a wrench in the works, or perhaps a bug in the bourbon.
Right now, there's more than $1 billion of investment in Kentucky bourbon, and a lot of that investment is coming to Kentucky because people are very excited about exports.
Fred Minnick wrote Bourbon, the Rise, Fall, and Rebirth of American Whiskey. He says bourbon is the last true signature industry for this state.
When someone thinks of Kentucky, they're not thinking about fried chicken anymore. They're thinking about Kentucky bourbon. And when you start tariffing it, when you start, taking away jobs and hurting it from being exported to Spain, to the United Kingdom, to Mexico, to Canada, to wherever, you're essentially, gut punching the state of Kentucky.
The tariffs won't just hurt the distillers in Kentucky. In this state, more than 17,000 jobs rely in some way on the whiskey industry. Those are grain farmers, the manufacturers of glass and of these barrels. Also, the entrepreneurs who are building their bourbon tourism businesses.
Bourbon is at a critical moment right now.
Caitlin Sulligan and Nicole Stipp launched Matson & Gilman, a luxury tourism company that specializes in bourbon experiences. They worry about the trickle-down effect of tariffs, forcing the big bourbon businesses to contract and potentially putting the small craft distillers out of business.
Damaging bourbon's ability to reach a global audience is immediately going to damage businesses like us trying to attract those tourists.
Brown-Forman owns famous brands like Woodford Reserve, Jack Daniels, and Old Forester. It says China is important to its business. And American whiskey companies are chipping away at Scotch whiskey's dominance there, doubling their Chinese market share in 5 years to 9%. In fact, globally, Kentucky whiskey exports are skyrocketing, up 23% in just a year to $450 million last year. But now, 65% of those exports are subject to retaliatory tariffs. And for tiny distiller Peerless, which has just launched its international business, there's a lot of uncertainty.
I have 2 boys, hopefully they want to be distillers, be 6th generation. So we're not just building this as the next place to sell out to one of the big players. What we do and how we export and how we build this business plan now definitely affects our future.
For now, Kentucky distillers are bracing for whatever hangover a lengthy trade war brings. In Louisville, Kentucky, Contessa Brewer, Nightly Business Report.